autophagy means that our body takes all the different cells and our immune system together. It actually, through the metabolic basis, it will kill the bad cells that are going to become cancerous, and it will grow the good cells. And where does all of this come about? It comes about some from our genetics because we express our epigenetics as we become older and as we grow to, in our adolescence. Well, why did we have all those zits?
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Thrive State Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. V, triple board certified MD and performance and longevity expert. And on today's podcast, I bring with you one of the pioneers in the anti-aging and regenerative medicine world to teach you about bioidentical hormones, the biohormones that are in our body, what causes the decline in these hormones as we age, and how we leverage natural products to actually increase the biohormones in our life to optimal levels so we could feel better, look better, and also be our best selves as we age. Now, before we get into the podcast, let me welcome in all the first-timers to the Thrive State Podcast. This is a place where we bring in the thought leaders, world experts in the fields of performance, longevity, health, wellness, relationship, business, to give you the tools and tactics to take your life, your health to the next level. For those who are returning to the podcast and helping the show grow, let me just give you a very heartfelt thank you. It is through your engagement, your subscription, that allows us to get to the next level. So thank you. If you haven't done so already, you could help us by engaging with the comments, subscribing to the podcast, and also sharing the podcast with your friends and family members if you find it brings some value to your life. Now, before we dive into the podcast a little bit more, I want to let you in on a very special event that you could take a part of. This is the Thrive State Summit, which is going live December 7 through 10 for free. I have interviewed probably about 50 of the world's thought leaders in mental health, giving you the tools to access the ability to understand the different type of stresses what we go in through life, what it actually does to our physical, emotional, financial, and spiritual health when we don't deal with these stresses. It's really to give you the tools and resources for you to address stress and burnout at the root cause so that you can live a life that is enjoyable, that is fulfilling, so that you can give the best of yourself to the people around you, to your business, to your work, and certainly for the world that really needs your gifts. Check out ThriveStateSummit.com to register for free the Thrive State Summit, Mental Health Summit, to give you the access to beat burnout and stress. And if you haven't already, pick up a copy of my book at ThriveStateBook.com, and it gives you basically the roadmap, the blueprint you need to get you into the Thrive State. So let's get on to today's podcast. I've got a very special guest, and after interviewing him, I think I'm going to give him the name Doc Brown of the longevity and regenerative medicine space, because you'll see from his energy, he's a 77-year-old doctor that was once a surgeon, spending decades as a surgeon, but has also spent the last 30 years in anti-aging and regenerative medicine. So brace yourselves, because you're going to meet one of the pioneers in the medical field and in the fields of regenerative and anti-aging medicine. He's a mixture of a surgeon's finesse, an educator's wisdom, a researcher's curiosity, and inventor's innovation, which is what you could see him on the podcast today. Know why I'm calling him the Great Scott. Doc Brown of longevity. Meet Professor Paul Ling Tai. He's a medical maestro with not just one, not two, but 14 U.S. patents to his name. He's been under the spotlight, reconstructing and bringing new life to many ankles and feet with his once career as a podiatric surgeon. And if that wasn't enough, he's worn many hats, including serving under 2 Michigan state governors, shaping the future of budding surgeons, to dazzling being the chairman and president of the Brazil Academy of Anti-Aging and Regenerative Medicine. Now, you ever wonder about the secrets of anti-aging? Well, Dr. Tai isn't just an advocate, he's a pioneer. And you could tell from his vitality and life and energy on this show today that he has some knowledge as to how to live a vibrant life. And it's not really just about extending our life, is it? As we talk about longevity, it's really about enriching, enjoying, and expanding on life itself. And you can tell from his passion in how he speaks about longevity just how much of a purpose and a guiding North Star it is in his own life. But it's not just about the work of Dr. Tai. He is an expert when it comes to herbal and cosmetic compound engineering. And what we're going to learn today is actually how to blend the art of living and the science of longevity, something I talk about on keynote stages all over the world about. So please enjoy his message, enjoy his energy on today's episode of the Thrive State podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Professor Paul Ling Tai. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Thrive State podcast. With me today, Dr. Paul Tai, also an anti-aging doctor. And before we go into the show, people in the audience know of this game show style, a very fun section of the show called the 5 to Thrive. 5 quick questions to get to know you a little bit better. Dr. Tai, what was a dream for you as a child to become in terms of either, a career or profession? What did you want to be when you grew up?
But believe it or not, I wanted to be a singer. Yeah, even when I was a tiny little boy, I always sang everywhere I went, and I whistled. Music was very important to me, and I really thought, oh my gosh, I'd love to be a singer, but I tell you, I sing like a damn frog. Isn't a good one for me. Great question, but not good for me.
All right, well, this leads to question number 2, 1,000 points for the question. The second question is, if we were to put you on stage with 50,000 people and I were to hand you a microphone to sing your karaoke song of your choice, what song would that be?
Oh my God, you really got me good there. I would probably depend on the audience, but if it was a fun audience, I would probably sing something like an American folk song, and then if it was a more serious or more romantic, smaller group, I probably would sing something like an Edelweiss. But if it was a very solemn, big group, then I would probably sing the Lord's Prayer.
All right. Well, sounds good. 3 options there. I know my go-to song is You've Lost That Loving Feeling from the Righteous Brothers. Question number 3 is, you could go back to any era of time to just see what was out there, to meet particular heroes you had, back in history. What time period would you choose and why?
Oh, I probably don't. I've always said this is the best time period of all time. Now is the best, because I tell you, we have so many new technologies coming on. The world is exciting. The medicine is changing. We are learning so much more, and we are starting to also use more and more natural. So I would say that, unfortunately, I love this exact period, and I am totally don't want to go anywhere else.
Okay, that sounds good. We'll give you 1,000 points there. Question number 4 is, what is one little known secret about you that you're willing to share with our audience, potentially for the first time in a stage such as this, that people might not know, that would find very amusing about you?
Well, I would say that most people, when they see me speak in a big audience on television, and that they see me speak in front of thousands of doctors, and they all think that I am fearless. They all think that I can speak to anything or anybody. But the truth is that they don't know is that I am actually very shy. And all of this is so that I created this persona. I created this pushing myself to speak and to share ideas with other people because I really, really feel that I have to leave a legacy because I am now already 77 years old. 77. So time is of an essence to all of us old croakers. So we basically want to make sure that there is a legacy behind. And this is why we go out and we share with all the doctors and we help as many people as we can.
Oh, wow. 4,000 points thus far. The last question here. If you get this question correct, you win the 5 to Thrive, which means the next time we get to meet in person, I will buy a healthy meal. But that's if you get this last question right, which is the following. Of everything that you've learned thus far, if you have to categorize all your wisdom, if you had one nugget that you could only leave as a legacy tool, what message would that be?
Very, very good. This is an essence of life. The essence of life, there is a philosophy that has to run deep in all of our soul. And the most important, there are several, I would say probably 2 that are super important, but of the 2, the most important for everyone to know in terms of your happiness, in terms of your health, in terms of your community, in terms of your family, the most important quality philosophically is to be grateful for everything in life, grateful for your friends, grateful to your patients because they give you the opportunity to be who you want to be and to express your love to all of it. Gratitude to God, gratitude to your family, gratitude to everything. This is the most important because when you are grateful, you cannot be depressed. You cannot be sad. You are more expressing what we all have in common. And if we were grateful to each other, we would treat each other with respect and we would be honest with everyone.
Oh, that's beautiful. 5,000 points, 5 to Thrive winner, which means you and I, potentially Detroit, meal on me. So I just wanted to ask, Dr. Tai, you are 77 years old and obviously full of vibrant energy. I detect a little bit of an accent. I myself am a Chinese, Vietnamese boat refugee coming to the States and became a traditional MD. Now, you're in this anti-aging world. Many people that follow me recognize that this is something that is relatively new out in the space. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey to America, how you originally trained, what type of doctor you were, and what insight allowed you to say, hey, you know what, I'm not going to practice traditionally anymore and follow this anti-aging revolution that we're starting to see now?
I came to America. It was a huge big change in my life. I was only 16 years old. And I tell you, most people think that Chinese and the Asians, we are very close family. Most people don't know that our parents very rarely, or at least my parents, very rarely complimented me. They always told me that I was found someplace in the garbage and that I was adopted and that I was no good. And so when I was 16 years old, my mother took me to the airport with my little tiny suitcase and she put, Dr. Wu, she put $100, a little tiny $100 bill, and she rolled it up and she put it on my top pocket, and she would not even hug me. I tell you that Asians are really weird. She would not even hug me. She extended her hand forward and she shook my hand. You could tell that the tears was welling into her eyes, but she couldn't get herself to tell me how much she loved me because it is not done. They always say, you're no good. You better go to college. You better do something with your life because otherwise you're never going to amount to anything. So I tell you, I came to America with $100 and all by myself. And I will tell you, Dr. Wu, I did not hear from my mother for another 14 years. She never sent me a Christmas card. She never sent me a birthday card. No calls, no, how are you? Nothing. I never saw her until I became a surgeon, and I was the biggest top 5 surgeon in the country, and I was a top in the state of Michigan. So therefore, I actually had such a huge, I was very lucky. I had such a big practice for a tiny little Chinese kid. And I tell you, they actually helped me to grow up to become American. And I learned the hard work, it pays in America. And I sent my mother, when I became the surgeon, I sent my mother a round trip ticket on United Airlines first class to pull so that my mother could see what happened to her $100.
Oh, that's amazing. That was a great investment. And, thank you for being able to recognize that, within the Asian culture. I remember not being able to do so myself. My mother, actually right now, my mother only learned to start kissing my 2.5-year-old daughter pretty recently. The first year or so, there was no kisses. It just goes to show that our ability to express our emotions, our feelings of love is something that we could all learn. But in the Asian community, expressing that hasn't been, something that's on the forefront. And I realize that, our ability to talk about this, to be able to share this love is going to be so important, because it actually filters into what we're about to talk about, which is longevity. So of what ages us early is our ability not to be ourselves and not to be able to express.
Exactly. Very good. Excellent.
So let me ask you, what surgeon were you initially? And then, what made you switch into the field of longevity?
Well, I'm a double board certified surgeon. My specialty is in pediatric surgical reconstruction. I do foot and ankle and leg, and I do the bones and the joints and the tendons. I do all the amputations. I was a top surgeon in the state of Michigan. I served under 2 governors to sit on the board of licensing. I'm the one that gives the exams, and I'm the one that prepares them to be board certified. So at the hospital, I was the head of the training for all the residents. And this is my sort of the entry into the medical field. And I was really lucky because I was a small, little, very young looking, because some of the patients wouldn't even think that I was the doctor, because they probably thought I was the laundry boy or something, because I was so young looking. And then they actually helped me, and I actually became the top surgeon, 120 patients a day. Half of the hospital was dedicated to Dr. Tai. And I tell you, the reason that, and I was making millions, and I mean, 135 patients, 120 patients a day is very, very busy practice with 30 nurses. So I really ran a huge, big clinic. The real key, Dr. Vu, is that I was miserable. I made money, but I was miserable. I was fat. I was huge. I was nearly 200 pounds. I had triple chin. My belly was so big, Dr. Vu, I could not even see my own shoes. I could not see my shoes because my stupid belly was in the way. So I was miserable. I was unhappy. I was a sick camper. So I decided that before I start to teach everybody else, before I start to actually give my wisdom and my knowledge to helping others, that I was going to help myself first. So I lost 60 pounds. My belly now is at 28 inches. I am 5'11". I weigh 132 pounds, and I have less than 95% body fat. So I really went from a very, very tired, very sick boy with big problems with my pre-diabetes, hypertension, prostate problem. I mean, you name it, and I had those problems. And this is for a young Chinese man. And so it was not acceptable. So I gave up everything. I stopped practicing pediatric surgery. And then I went back to school, got a double board certification in clinical nutrition and in anti-aging, and I taught all over the world. and wrote 14 textbooks on this particular area of expertise.
Well, it's amazing. It reflects a little bit of my own career. We probably had very similar patients. You probably amputated many feet of the people that I treated with as an interventional radiologist. I would open up blood vessels for people that lived their life in such a way that caused a lot of plaque that entered their arteries. And as you know, once they go down that route, if they don't fix anything within them, the energy, the frequency, the messages that they're giving to their cells on a daily basis, they would just continue on the path of adding more plaque and things like that. And so, I shared that journey with you because, 7-8 years ago, I was also overweight, diabetic, high blood pressure on prescription medications, recognizing now that traditional medicine didn't really address those things. And I, like you, also got a fellowship in anti-aging and regenerative medicine. So we share many, many qualities. How old were you when you had that realization, or did you have that light bulb moment where you gave up everything and decided to focus on something else? I hope you're enjoying the podcast thus far. Now, I wanted to give you a really neat resource that I've been working on for the past year. Are you living with chronic stress, burnout, or the nagging symptoms of anxiety and depression? Do you find yourself battling fatigue or brain fog or feeling like you're not performing at your best? Well, what I've been working on all of this year is made especially for you. It is an online virtual event called the Thrive State Summit. You can register now for free at thrivestatesummit.com. But what it is this: you get to connect with and learn from 50 world-renowned thought leaders, experts, and some of your favorite celebrities. We've got people like Bruce Lipton, Vishen Lakhiani, Dave Asprey, Dr. Josh Axe, all united with a shared mission to tackle the mental health crisis that is impacting each and every one of us. Now, the Thrive State Summit isn't just another event. It is really my hope that it becomes a catalyst for change, particularly in this fast-paced world. And so what can you expect? You're going to expect to take home life-changing takeaways from all our experts, activation sessions to be able to bring you into states of calm and relaxation, really all the resources for you to become the best version of yourself. And finally, proceeds from the Thrive State Summit will go to 4 mental health nonprofits improving Rare Impact Fund, the Trevor Project, Good Days, Genius Recoveries. So please, if you invest in yourself, and please share this resource with your friends and family members. It's something I poured my entire heart into this past year, and I know it's going to help so many people. So register now at thrivestatesummit.com. 46, so that was 30 years ago. Amazing.
46. I was very, very successful very early, and then I really, really burned out because I did not want to do all of those surgeries anymore. I wanted to help people to have the quality of life, and I really wanted to do natural medicine because, you see, as an Asian, we were brought up. The day we were born, my mother would say, eat this, it's good for your lungs. Eat that, it's good for your eyes. Eat this, drink this, it's good for your sleep. Do this, it's good for... I mean, we were brainwashed from the time we were born, Dr. Boo. So this is why I, in the end, went right back to plant-based medicine, to natural medicine, where there is no side effects, and we try to help you to do the things that prescription drugs cannot do. Because prescription drugs, oftentimes, they just put a Band-Aid, but they don't solve the problem.
Yeah, I can certainly resonate with that statement here. And as you were talking about, your shift, 30 years and still full of energy, part of what you do and what you talk about is really reversing biological age. Can you share with us the concept of what biological age and what reversing biological age means? How's that different from your chronological age?
Well, it is very, very good question, because this is the centerpiece. Most people can come to you and show you their driver's license, and they'll go like, I am 40 years old, I am 30 years old, or whatever it is, their chronological age. But then if you put away that driver's license, Dr. Vu, what we want to ask them is, George, if you didn't know how old you are from that driver's license, how old do you feel? And that is where I think it all comes together. Because you see, a human being must actually grow and balance the growth together with the death of the cells. Because most people don't know that actually the dying of the cells are just as important as the growth of the cells. Because if you don't die, then you're going to have cancer. So you have to have dying cells. It's called autophagy. Autophagy means that our body takes all the different cells and our immune system together. It actually, through the metabolic basis, it will kill the bad cells that are going to become cancerous, and it will grow the good cells. And where does all of this come about? It comes about some from our genetics because we express our epigenetics as we become older and as we grow to, in our adolescence. Well, why did we have all those zits? Because, our body was changing. And what is the messenger? What is beside the DNA, which is the master plan? What is the message? How is it that our body continues to do everything every day without you knowing, without you paying attention? It does that because it has biohormones, because it has growth to your brain. It has hormones that grow in your muscles. It has hormones that actually that transport, like vitamin D. These are all hormones. I know it's vitamin D, and most people say, "Oh, but doctor, that's just a vitamin." No, it's not a vitamin. It is a hormone. And this is why it is so important, because the hormones are the ones that protects you from the heart disease, protects you from the stroke, protects you from the bone loss. All these women, they are dying, all preventable. Why? Because if they have a spontaneous fracture, their lifespan shortens dramatically. And so I want to help them to go into the centerpiece of their longevity, which is their biohormones that made them the woman, made them the man that they are. And this is where we can influence using only natural plant-based supplements.
It's beautiful. I want to dive into that a little bit more specifically in a second, but we live in a world where I feel like moving away from how potentially the universe had envisioned for human beings to be, not sleeping very well, not moving every single day, not connecting in community, not having a purpose, all these things is causing a havoc on our hormones. And yes, we naturally have our hormones decline over the years, but there are things that we're doing that are accelerating the loss of hormones. And so can you talk about potentially, before diving into the hormones itself, how can people potentially start living in such a way that, can preserve the rapid acceleration of hormone loss and be able to do it in a way that is natural to protect themselves as they, age?
Well, the most practical way, Dr. Vu, is actually to incorporate it, integrate it, not just putting pieces here and there, but actually integrate it into your lifestyle. You see, lifestyle gives you longevity. It gives you something that you do every day. And so what do we do every day? First thing, I will teach all of the doctors, I teach every patient, the very first thing you do every single day when you wake up, make your bed. I know it sounds crazy, but you know what? When making your bed, it puts your life in order. It puts your mental capacity into saying, I am going to do something productive today. I am going to show the world, I'm going to share with them what I'm going to do. And you know what else? It's very interesting about making your bed. You have to bend, you have to pick, you have to throw, you have to put all the bed sheet together. I tell you, you're going to be doing some moving. You're going to find out, are you out of breath? Are you hurting? Is your back hurting? Is your back sending pain all the way down to your leg? Are you feeling dizzy? Did you have a good night's sleep? Do you have the energy? All of that will reveal itself if you just make your crazy bed. I know it sounds stupid, but that's the number one. The second thing, always eat a rainbow. Never, never eat sugar. Stay away from sugar because sugar is inflammation. So that is your diet plan. All the colors of the rainbow and stay away from sugar and carbo as much. Simple carbo, complex carbo is okay. So the third is always pay attention to your family and your close community because these are the people that supports you. These are the people that gives you the emotional, the feeling that to live. Man does not live by food alone. Man does not live by hormone alone. Man lives with all of this, with love, with expression of gratitude, with expression of honesty. This gives you honesty, not lying to people. These are very important so that your life has a purpose. It has the ability to create that knit, that very close relationship with those who you love. Don't wait until they are dead to tell them that you love them. Tell them now. And when you do all of those things, you not only will have a much better biohormone, but Dr. Vu, your life will start to work. Don't blame everybody else. Look into yourself. Be responsible. Do what is right, and your life will work. I promise you.
Oh, that's beautiful. And now let's dive a little bit into the hormone level. We know certainly for men, probably starting at the age of 30, they're starting to lose about 1% of, the major hormones, including testosterone, growth hormone, every single year. And we notice that increasing more as the years go by, potentially because of some plastics and estrogens that we see that is out there. Also, on top of the fact people are living more stressful lives, not sleeping very well, not moving very well, the things that you were saying. In women, we know a drastic change, and I'm not quite sure people know this, which is why I want to dive in a little bit deeper, but certainly at menopause, we see a huge shift between having all these hormones for women all of a sudden plummet. Can you talk about how this changes a woman's physiologic destiny, what this rapid drop does for women, and how do we start to prevent that naturally?
I wanted to actually learn what is the second life that they are going to have after menopause, because the life is very different, because the body is very different. I know that you still have the same nose that your father has when you're speaking to a woman. I know that her eyes are the same as her mother, so we know she's the same person. But I tell you, when the biohormones are gone, oh my goodness, you are not the same person again. You are afraid. Your hair falls off. You gain weight. You actually see all the wrinkles. You actually see the increase in the incidence of heart disease, in the stroke. You will see all of these things, and then you don't want to understand. Why is it? Why is it that I have all this hot flash with all of these sweating like crazy, and my husband doesn't want me to sleep in the same bedroom with him because I'm driving him crazy? I'm telling you, all of this is because your biohormone has changed. And I can help you. And Dr. Vu, together, we can help these patients. And you know what? It starts, believe it or not, I know that people don't understand this, but it starts around 45 years of age, because it is what we call perimenopause, not menopause, because menopause may not come until 52, 55, but perimenopause. This is where really goes crazy. Most of my patients say, my goodness, I am dying. I say, why are you dying? I am bleeding so bad that I have been bleeding for 7 days. I have to change tampons 3 times a day. And she goes, I never had this. Why is this happening? It's because in the perimenopause, before the shutdown, the organs go through a period of very high and very low. Very high. It's kind of like your car. Remember when we used to have a car that didn't work? So when you're driving in the freeway, it used to go, it went forward and then it doesn't want to work well. This is perimenopause. And what we can do, Dr. Vu, is to help them with a very simple test that you can run at home. And when you run that test, and all you have to do is spit, you don't even have to have that big fat woman come with a big needle to stick in your arm. Not at all. You are actually going to have a very easy time of spitting at home. And then you send it to Dr. Vu or myself, and then we will send it to the laboratory, and then we will actually give them a whole report on what is going on with all of those biohormones. Because you see, there are good biohormones and there are bad biohormones. And what we want is that we want to let the bad biohormone and actually protect your cells so that you don't end up with a very, very preventable cancer.
Let's talk a little bit about these hormones. For the longest time, people have, seen hormones that the OB-GYNs have given to their patients, including a lot of synthetic hormones produced by the pharmaceutical agencies that are out there, which is very different from the hormones that are actually identical to the ones that you naturally produce in your body. Say we are low in vitamin D levels, say your vitamin D levels come back at 10, 15, 20. Of course, you're going to want your vitamin D levels optimized because it performs so many functions in your body. Well, the same way, both men and women have a decrease in their hormones and we would want to replenish them, but we should want to replenish them with the hormones we actually have in our body. And it doesn't appear that these pharmaceutical-derived hormones are identical to the hormones we have in our body. What are some of the dangers in terms of using synthetic hormones versus bioidentical hormones that we could find in plants? I hope you're enjoying the podcast so far. If you are, I just wanted to let you know, join our community. There's so many free resources and a great community of people that desire health, happiness, human potential, to have more in their life, more health, more energy. And when you have those two things together, you could create more happiness, more abundance, whether it be financial, romantic, all these things in your life. And if you're just starting out, you don't know where to go, just sign up for thrivestatestarter.com, because in there you're going to get a bundle of information that includes a longevity ebook, a longevity and performance resource guide, lecture notes that come from my keynotes at Google, at Fortune 500 companies, all the insights in that keynote in lecture slide form given to you. And then finally, breathwork. I share 3 powerful breathwork exercises to access calm, which really gives you clarity and peace during the day, to access energy if you need to wake up and really motivate yourself, and finally a breathwork routine that you could do every single morning so that you could be very intentional with how you create that day. You can find all this stuff delivered free to your inbox at thrivestatestarter.com. And our community is growing. If you want to be a part of a community of people that desire the Thrive State, that are really in Thrive State themselves and help other people along with that, you could be a part of the community. You can get group coaching from me. We do breathwork sessions, meditation sessions, and you also get to drop in and participate in podcasts in the future. You could find more about the community at mythrivestate.com. That's mythrivestate.com. So check out those resources. You're not going to be disappointed. And please enjoy the remainder of this podcast.
Such a wonderful question, because it is a question that a lot of our patients ask, a lot of our doctors, because I teach doctor, I'm the doctor's doctor. So I am going to share with you that the real problem with these synthetic hormones is that they are made from all things like coal tar. coal. I mean, black coal and the tar that you squeeze out of these coal, they are making these biohormone with those coal tars that create cancer. And they make it with the horse's urine. I am telling you, it is crazy. Unless this woman, I always ask them, do you eat hay? Do you eat grass? Are you a horse? No, you're not a horse. You're a human being. So why use horse urine on your body and take it? And they take it by mouth. They take a lot of these biohormones by mouth, and they do surgery on them. We don't do any of that because we do not believe it's necessary. We use only plant-based biohormone. These are identical. And if you look up in the dictionary, if you look up the Webster's dictionary, identical means just that. It means it's a perfect combination of what our biohormones are. There is no difference. The pharmaceuticals cannot do that because they are using pharmaceutical because they want to patent it. And because they want to patent it, they cannot make it identical. So there is a difference. And when you use those synthetic ones, they give you all sorts of headache, all sorts of side effects that is well published in a medical journal, and we know about it. But Dr. Vu, we want to use sweet potato. We want to use white potato. We want to use all the different kinds of plant-based foods to extract and make the biohormones identical, where there is minimal side effect. We don't see it in all of the 30 years that we've been doing this. We don't see it, and the patients actually don't have to have the surgery. You don't have to have shots. You don't have to go to the corner and meditate for years in order to get your biohormones back again. No. It's very simple. All you do is put a couple pumps, 3-4 pumps, put it on your skin, rub it in really well after you shower. Boom, you are home. You are there, and then we can adjust the dosage so that we can balance the good hormones and balance the bad hormones.
That is so beautiful. And, I love how you look at it from two different angles, which is why, you can't do it with hormones alone. If you just gave the hormones alone, even if you're doing the identical ones and things like that, if you're not addressing the other things you were talking about lifestyle, of sleeping well, waking up and making your bed and moving, creating that sense of community and having that sense of purpose, you have to put these things together, which I'm really saying is you're combining the science of longevity along with the art of living together. So that's a beautiful thing. If people want to find out more about your clinic,
because we are not biology only. We are a bundle of emotions. We are a bundle of feelings. And I tell you, when you get older, the depression becomes real. The stress becomes real. Your problems become real. Why? Because you cannot think as well as you used to when you were younger. You don't have the biohormones, so you're not as wonderful as you used to be. We used to be, when you were 20 years old, oh my gosh, you thought about dying. You never thought about sickness. You never thought about anything. Everything was going to be okay tomorrow. We were that way when we were 20 years old. But when you get to be 40, 50, 60, 70, well, you start to actually become more conservative and you actually start to worry more. So very important to actually have a balance of your emotional, neurological, and biological part. That balance is the key.
This brings up a question that I know I want to ask is you're 77 years old right now. That's your chronological age. We can certainly see the vibrancy within you that is probably very unusual for many 77-year-olds that are out there. You're certainly feeling a lot younger. So can you tell us a little bit about your own personal regimen? Do you do hormones? Do you do peptides? How do you sleep? And what are some of the routines you've built into your own life that's giving you this sense of vibrancy and youth that I'm pretty sure people could feel when they listen to you?
Well, the most important thing is, as I said, from from a doctor's standpoint, sleep is number one. You don't sleep, you don't have a life. I am telling you right now, if you don't sleep, you're going to be miserable, sir. You're going to be miserable. Ma'am, you are going to be miserable if you don't sleep. So the first and most important, and don't go to your bed, thinking that you're going to fall asleep in 5 minutes. Not always, okay? So you have to plan. Sleep is important. It's like showering. You have to plan for it. You have to actually give enough time. So when you go to sleep, stay away from the blue light. Put away that stupid phone and start with reading. Yes, reading. I know people say, read? Nobody reads. Yes, we read. Human being needs to read. And when you go to sleep, you need to read. You need to be cooler. You need to stay cooler so that you sleep deeper. The most important is if you're going to use melatonin, doctor, teach everyone, stay away from melatonin by mouth, because people are crazy. They are going out there, they are starting to take 20 milligrams, 50 milligrams, 100 milligrams of melatonin. And I tell you, they don't know that the highest peak of melatonin in the blood is only 80 nanograms at 2 in the morning. And that's the highest peak. And we are taking 50 milligrams of melatonin. That is about 100 million times more melatonin than your body can possibly use. But it is very bad for the liver. So I have created a melatonin that is transdermal. It's a cream. All you have to do is put it on your face, on your neck. And I tell you, this goes into your brain. It goes into helping you to sleep. Why? Because it is metered. It's not absorbed right away. It is metered because your skin absorbs very gently all through the night. And that bypasses the liver. And it does not have the problem that when you put it in your mouth. So therefore, you will not have the problems that you have when you take too much by mouth. And another thing, when you shower, please always finish your shower, yes, with a cold shower. I know, and I live in Detroit, and I live in a cold place where it's just 30 below zero. And I still, when I take a shower, you take a nice warm shower, but always finish with a 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute of cold shower. Why? Why is that important? Because you see, our human body needs to balance. And the most important autonomic and the sympathetic balance is the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is the longest nerve in the human body. It goes from the brain all the way down to your bottom. And I tell you, when you get that ice cold water at the end, it wakes up the dead. It just gets you going again. And all of that brown fat. Remember, the white fat is inflammation. The brown fat is the beauty. And the brown fat is grown from what? From the cold water, from the shower. So you should do that. And then very last, try to clean your system through autophagy. Try to take a cleaning system. It is called intermittent fasting. That is when you stop eating at 7, 8 o'clock at night and don't eat again until 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock the next morning. And that creates autophagy. When you put together with methylene blue, it's a supplement, it's a methylene blue together with the very, very important diatoms and very important microminerals from the ocean. Oh my gosh, this is wonderful because it regenerates what? It regenerates mitochondria. And this is the most important. Why do I have so much energy? It's because my mitochondria is at its best. So we clean the mitochondria, we clean the toxins, and we then rejuvenate the mitochondria using the cordyceps, using the methylene blue. This is what I do. And this is keeping me at 77 I still write textbooks. I'm still on national television. I still travel worldwide. And I still on my feet for 12, 14 hours. And I tell you what, it is beautiful. Life is good when you feel good.
Oh, wow. And we feel you as you say that. So for people that want to know more about you and your clinic or your speaking, where do they go to find you?
Okay, they can go onto my website. It's called drpaulingthai.com. So drpaulingthai.com, or they can go on Instagram. And I am on Instagram. I do Instagram live every Thursday at 12 o'clock. We have a number of treatment, but most importantly, we are a medical society. I am the president. I teach not only the patients, but we teach doctors, and it is our mission to help people. So the consultation that I have is free, so the patients can call and make an appointment, because the consultations in New York and in LA and for anti-aging, $200, $300, $500. So I want you to know that when you go and you have us actually to help you, that consultation is free, and then they buy the supplements from the doctors from another company. So what we do is that we teach people how to do it, and my telephone number so that you can call and always get hold of me is 313-561-6800. 313-561-6800. And you can always ask for me, and I will always be present and help you.
Wow, that's amazing. Certainly, chronological age does not mean that it takes away any of your energy. And if you want some of this energy into your life, certainly give them a call. Now, my last question for you is the following. I mean, with everything that you've done so far, from traditional medicine, being a podiatric surgeon, to being an anti-aging medicine and living the life that you currently live, what has been your very best medicine?
Well, I am very, very focused on having the clean liver and the clean lung, and to keep your blood vessels clear. Unfortunately, I was born with a fatal dysfunction in my heart, and it's not operable. So my brother died from that, and I've been taking care of myself to not die from that, but it can go any minute, any minute. My life is not a future. My life is today. Now, it's the only life that I have, because I don't know how much longer, because every time we check it, they say it is at the final stage of which you're going to have this problem. It is not operable. So it's very important, as I said to everyone, stay away from sugar. That's one of the very, very important aspect. And I want you to know that it is only where you take these potato extract, these biohormones, that actually help you to balance your body biohormone. But the one thing that I use is what you understand also as an Asian doctor. It's the most important Asian secret in all of the history of China, and that is called cordyceps. Cordyceps is a type of a mushroom that is found only in the top mountains of Tibet. And I have written a textbook called The Cordyceps Miracle. And I tell you, cordyceps keeps your heart beating better, keeps your lung clean and exchanging, but most important, keeps your liver working at the peak and regenerative. But more, it keeps both kidneys actually from filtration on the glomerulus, and it really, really works beautifully. And it helps you to actually have the energy. You know, the Chinese athletes, they all take cordyceps. That is their secret, and it is not against the Olympic law. So it is very natural. It has no side effect. You take cordyceps, and I've written a book on that.
That's beautiful. Beautiful medicine. Check out his book, The Cordyceps Miracle. Dr. Paul Tai, thank you for your wisdom, your energy today on the Thrive State podcast. I hope you enjoy that episode of the Thrive State podcast. And if you're finding that this content is really helping you and your family members, please consider supporting our mission and our cause of elevating health, happiness, and human potential for people all over the world. You can do so by making sure that you subscribe to this podcast, sharing it with your friends and family members, and leaving us a 5-star review wherever podcasts are heard. All these things are going to really help elevate the show and to give us the resources to continue to bring more content just like this to yourself as well as the people that you love. If you haven't already, you might want to consider joining our community. We actually have a community where people get to engage with me in group sessions where we do breath work, meditation, where we do challenges together, really to be able to get us access to health, happiness, human potential so that we could have longevity and performance in our life as well. You can check out our community at mythrivestate.com. That's mythrivestate.com. And if you haven't already, pick up a copy of my book, Thrive State. It really gives you all the tools, the pillars that you need to create a blueprint to control the energetics of your life. Who are you? How you show up in the world? The choices that you consistently make create an energy in your body, and you can control this. And when you can control that, you also control the messages you give to your DNA that gives you access, again, to optimal health, longevity, and peak performance. And let me also just share a free gift to you. If you haven't already, please pick up my longevity and performance bundle where I share lecture notes, ebooks, breathwork exercises, and longevity and performance resources at thrivestatestarter.com. Thank you so much for being a part of this community. Thank you for helping us grow. Remember always, my friends, that you are your best medicine.